I know. Well, that's why I called Janet.
eventually, and then called me again and called
No.
Janet again. I got 4 calls,
Okay,
so
because I don't want to be late.
we're already late.
I know, but my internet kept going up and down.
All right, we are coming in now. You have a
All
great
right,
show.
thanks, Roy. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we started. Well, let's pretend we started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ghost Chronicles right here on TogiNet Radio. I am Ron Kolick, your host, the gatekeeper around the unknown, the unexplained, the unbelievable, New England's own Van Helsing. With me, my co-host, the queen of pain herself, Maureen Wood.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Well, I guess. More internet problems as usual. It's just a crazy world. Mercury isn't in retro or anything, is it?
You know what? I don't really follow the stars all that much, so I can't say for sure.
Okay, let me
I
ask
probably
this.
should, though.
You have told me this many. So John says he can't hear us, so we are going out live. We just don't have an opening. All right, so we'll just put that in later. Anyways, you've been telling me this for many years, and I wonder how much is true. You say that when you have pickup abilities, it interferes with electronics. Is this true or not?
Yes.
In which way?
I don't know if it's true for everyone,
Go ahead.
but it definitely does for me and my son. Put it that way. I've noticed for him, he causes similar issues.
What about your daughter?
She doesn't have that. I mean, she has had many experiences, but she hasn't had like
I'm talking
electronic
about electronics now.
failures,
We're strictly talking
Yeah,
electronics. Right now.
no.
Yeah.
Josh does though, because I know for a fact because many times I've had to replace when he was in college and he was going through, obviously transitions going to school. He went through 4 different gateway computers. He went through 5 cell phones. And so I got warranties every time I'd buy anything. I'd get warranties. And I'm serious. And, nobody gets it. But when you have to pay out all that much, you do it.
No, I get it. I totally get it. I mean, I understand, like, in Spirit Quest, we had a couple of Zoom calls coming in, and there was problems with it. And, they always blame me. They said, Ron, it's you every time. It's like, I'm beginning to wonder now. It's like just the last show, for no particular reason, I dropped out of the Zoom thing, and it just dropped right out of it for no reason at all. So I don't know. Can't figure it out.
It happens,
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I work for a technology company, right? Many of them.
I know. That was always big deal.
And I always wondered why the support people would be like, Maureen, you've gone through like 4 computers, you've gone through 7 monitors. Like, why are you the one always having issues? I'm like, I don't know, just luck. What can I say? Because I don't want to tell them, right?
Yeah. So, you and I have done a lot of investigations together. And in the beginning, we were the team. We always together, always working, doing stuff, the medium and whatever I was. But we were out there, and one of
Is
the
it
things,
catchy?
yeah, I haven't heard
Go
one.
ahead.
And so, one of the things that we used to do is that um, I would have my EMF meter. Granted, back then it was just a cheap old cell meter, but it was an EMF meter. And I noticed that any times that you would say that you were connecting with spirit, I was able to pick up readings on this meter. It would go off. Actually, it would blare. It would just go off like crazy. And and you always said, "Oh, okay, that's the spirit doing it." But then I always wondered about that. It's like I know that no, I here's the thing. I know that the human body produces electricity, and
Yep.
I always wondered that, like, when you connect with spirit, are you producing this energy field that my meter is reading, or am I reading the spirit? And it's a
Huh.
question I can't answer. But
Mm.
I always thought there was always a correlation there, which was intriguing. Because anytime you say, "Oh, and he's gone," the meter would go dead. So was it that you were normally connected to it, so that energy warp or energy field wasn't there, or was it just because the spirit was gone that I was reading? So it's it's an
It's
interesting,
it's a good question
yeah.
because it's possible, but again, it could be a tell.
Hmm.
Like you're producing this field, but it's a catch-22, right? So I'm feeling the energy. It doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that maybe it's adding a little bit of oomph. I don't know.
Hmm.
Possible.
I
I
don't know.
mean, there's been a couple times though. Remember the one when we were at the 1859 house?
Yeah.
And you were saying, reel them in. And I remember
Oh
thinking,
yeah.
like, reel them in. And then it was going bananas, like above my head. And you're like, just reel it in. And I reel it in and I dropped like a rock, right?
Yeah, but
And the meter
it's
was
just
going
because
crazy.
you could have connected back then stronger because the spirit came closer and you connected things. So
Yep.
it necessarily might not necessarily be the spirit, but it was the connection between you and him that's. I don't know. It's always something that I
And
always thought about.
and that's a good question because we don't know. But do you remember you getting the blood pressure cuff that was digital? Do you remember?
Oh, that stupid thing. That was a
Do you remember
loss.
though?
Yeah,
Because
so I
I
had
would
this
get
bright idea
sometimes,
that, yeah,
yeah.
because I like to measure stuff, and I thought, well, you know what? When she's doing this thing, why don't we put a blood pressure in thing? At least I can measure if her blood pressure is going up or down. Well, she connects versus when she isn't connected. It was a good thought. Go ahead.
Well, it was because I was wondering if the pain I was getting in my chest when it was feeling like that there was something that wasn't nice, let's say, if we connected to something that had more negative energy at the
Mhm.
time, I would feel like my heart would literally feel like it was being wrung out, right? Because
Right.
my thought was karmic, right? When I figure spirits, like I do readings, if they come through, they're not intent on causing harm, or they come in and they might channel, but they're not trying to take my energy, in other words, right?
Right.
And when sometimes occasionally that would happen, and I was like, Ron, I don't know if they're actually hurting me, right? Or if it's just like it's my energy, or if I'm literally feeling like a physical response to it. And that was, you're like, oh, I'll bring in a blood pressure cuff too. So you bring that in. We went down in the basement of, I think it was Rick's Cafe, and you
Yeah,
have this
that's what it
cuff
was.
on, and as they're coming in, the digital readout is like spinning like a baton on all the numbers. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it just went nuts.
Like, yeah. Instead of just having like normal numbers, how they make it digitally, right? They were
Mhm.
just like spinning.
Mhm.
I
It
was
was
like,
weird.
well, that's definitely interesting.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
weird.
definitely weird. That's for sure. But I mean, there's so much, other times that, there is some type of correlation of EMF, even if on my cheap meter, but like, where you could really say like, I don't know how many times you'll say like, well, like at the 1859 house, they're above us. And I would put my hand up high in the air and the meter went off like crazy. And then when I brought it back to our level where there was no connection, then it was zero. And of course, when you said reel them in, that's another story. But even at the House of Stone, when you were connecting with the spirit one time, and I said, I'm not getting anything. She says, oh, he's a little boy. It's lower. So I had brought it down, and sure enough, it went when I brought it down, it went off. And the same with even at the lighthouse. You said there's a woman here. She's guided. Once again, I was up high, and she said, "No, she's bent over. She's guided." And then I brought it down once again. Bang, same thing that happened. So I mean, it's an interesting thing. Now, I can't even think that it's even possible that you could be exerting some type of PK on it, where you can physically manipulate that meter. I don't know. I can't tell you that either. I mean, we just don't know.
Well, I can't either, but I don't believe so. But who knows? I mean, it's still we're dealing with the unknown,
Right, but in PK, you could be doing subconsciously, not necessarily consciously, but you can do it subconsciously as well. So that's that's the problem with this whole field that we're in. It's very difficult to prove anything, quite frankly.
But we get to that if we talk about, and I totally understand that, because we talk even, you and I mentioned today about law of attraction, right? Energy, because we're all energy beings. And so your thoughts, we're here to create, I believe, that's one of the things we're here to do. And I believe that our thoughts going out can create certain scenarios. So who knows, maybe it's possible.
All right. That's a good segue into our topic. Yeah, PK is maybe that's exactly what the cigarette is. It is a form of PK, and if they don't know what it is, Maureen's going to explain what the hell I'm talking
about. Well, there's a lot to it. I mean, you can go on the internet, you can go on YouTube, anywhere you look, and you'll get, honestly, thousands and upon thousands of variations of what law of attraction or manifesting, and using our, not so much abilities, but realizing, let's say, being aware of where our thoughts go. And the thought process is behind it all is that we get what we expect, we get what we believe, right? And what we not just we think about, but what we feel about.
Good and
bad, exactly. Yeah. But what you think about and what you feel about. Like, so in other words, your thoughts are where it's going, but your emotions is what is the fuel for it.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. No. What were we going to say?
Yeah, there was a whole, I mean, in fact, I think you originally let me borrow the DVD on the cigarette, which was a big popular thing at the day. It was some type of, I don't know, what would you call it, a modality?
Yeah, Rhonda Burns. Rhonda Burns, The Secret. I think that was a great first step. Now, had you asked me that like 15 years ago, I think, when I was really watching it, or when it first came out, it's got to be 15 or 18 years now. But it first came out, and it was, again, a good first step, because what it did was it told you about your thinking, and it's cool DVD, right? Because when you watch it, it's just a little bit of all different points of view, and it's not boring at all. I will say, though, it didn't get into so much the details of how do you do it. So people would try to implement the tools that you hear about in The Secret, and they'd say, well, it's not working for me. Well, I think it wasn't working for everyone, because it's more about how do you fuel it? How do you get it to work? And it's more about your intentions, but also being clear, and about your emotions. So it's about, I can sit there and use an affirmation all day long, how, this is wonderful. But if I don't feel that that's going to manifest, or if I don't energetically put in like that emotion attached to it, and we can get into that in a moment, but the emotion of it, it falls flat. Nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So-
sometimes you do things, you don't even realize how you're doing them, but you do them.
So is it the
Because
power
I know,
of
Ron,
belief?
you've had experiences.
I've had
Well,
many
it's not,
experiences.
well,
Go ahead.
you have, and it's not, it's maybe power of belief because you really do have like a narrow focus, and you truly have this passion for something. And when you have the passion or emotion towards it, it's more apt to come about than not.
Right. I mean, I have that experiences many times in my life, and just every day. And I don't do it consciously, but I think a lot of instances, perhaps I do manifest it. I mean, I'll take a simple, silly item. Jan likes coconut ice cream for some particular reason, and she's asked me when I do the grocery shopping. So when I went out and I went to the case, I looked to look for the coconut ice cream. No coconut ice cream. Looked everywhere, up, down, all around. Nothing there at all. So I went out, did my grocery shop. The rest of them went back to that case and opened that door, and right there on the shelf was the coconut ice cream. One coconut ice cream. And there are many times that I'll go shopping for something, and I say, I'd like to get that or something, and I'll go on that to that shelf, and there'll be one of those there, just one.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. Like that happens so much in my life that these things. Now, am I manifesting that, or is it just coincidence or serendipity? I don't know.
Well, I mean, sometimes if you say it once or twice, you can go, you know what, that's coincidence. I personally don't believe in coincidences like that.
Mhm.
I believe that it's more manifesting and creating that scenario than not, right? And then sometimes
Why
it gets
can't
just like,
I manifest $1 million?
well, because you don't believe it. On some level, a lot of people have money, like, I'm sorry, like even me, I have struggled growing up because my father would always say, you'd ask him for $1. Money doesn't grow on trees. What do you think I am, Rockefeller? And,
we both
when you
heard
hear
that before.
those,
From our
exactly.
generation.
So when you hear that, it puts this, almost like a block in your subconscious mind. And so, it's much easier if you started small and say, I'm going to manifest finding $1, or I'm going to manifest $10, and you just keep building. But there's so much more to it that I've never truly, let's just say over the years, I've studied and researched and listened to so many different people that I highly respect in the field of working with energy, working with, law of attraction, with manifesting different things in your life. And I have to say that, they're amazing, and I have seen it work many, many times over as well. So, in fact, the trip I'm going on, I'm leaving for Greece.
Yeah, that's an interesting story.
Days.
Why don't you bring that up?
So we were planning, and that's the other thing, I'll mention the house, but we were moving from Massachusetts to Maine. And I had taken a class from this woman. I didn't even realize that she lived in Greece, but she had, we had this oil and cold wax class. I'm an artist. So I was, I took the class. I loved it. And I thought, I would love to have an in-person class with her. And I even told that to my husband. I'm like, I'd really love to have that. It's just something that connects, resonates with me. So anyway, we're moving, and he says, oh, you should do that. You should just, if she has a class, you should sign up. So I see a class come across, and I look at it. I'm like, no, it was literally like $3,000 to take a week's class. It's an art retreat in Greece, right? Exactly. So I'm like, I really want to, but someday, right? Mm-hmm. Well, maybe a few weeks later, I get an email that says, hey, as part of giving back, this is the artist, the one who's doing the retreat. She says, part of giving back, she says, I've got all these people that have taken classes over the years. And what I do is once a year, I give a full boat to one of my classes, my art retreat. And then I give a half, of tuition to the class. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, that's great. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to fill out. It was a whole form of like probably 30 questions I had to fill out.
Gosh.
I don't remember. Yeah, and I did it on my phone. And I swear I do not remember half the things I wrote. And at the end, I was like, whatever. What do I have to lose? I'm just going to send it in.
Mhm.
Well, I moved in February. This is in like March or something. And then next thing I get is, she says, I'll make a decision in May. Well, May comes around the beginning, don't hear anything. I'm like, whatever, I'm busy. All of a sudden one day I'm thinking, I haven't heard from her. I just had this feeling. I looked on my phone and there's an email from her saying, congratulations, Maureen, you've been gifted the full scholarship to go to the art retreat.
Yeah, full scholarship?
And I was like, the full scholarship. So
God bless you.
I'm paying for my airfare. And obviously, and I get a couple friends coming with me, and I don't have to pay for the class. So
That's awesome.
it was a gift. So it's amazing. So honestly, it's interesting because it's one of those things when I did it, I really deeply wanted to go, but then I let it go. And that's another thing that is with manifesting. You let it go and trust that whatever's going to happen happens. You don't focus every day like, hey, did it happen yet? You know what I mean? You just have faith and you trust. And that's a big part of it, like letting go and letting things take place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when we used to do the radio show in your closet. Whatever the hell that room was. It's the smallest damn room I've ever seen in my life. But anyway.
He's not lying either, because when we go in, I have to go in first and go sideways.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty much it. So we used to do the original radio shows in there, and we had to take a break, but I got a minute. I can squeeze this through. So, anyways, we had done the investigation with America's Home Builders and a TV show that was on the air, and anyways, they offered a contest to name your favorite episode, and we were doing the show, and Marie says to me, Ron, you should sign up for that, and vote for us. But anyways, because we had a show on there, which one on Emmy. But anyways, so I said that's that doesn't really. You said you should do it, and so it's all right. I'll do it. So I did it. Sure enough, I won the first prize, which was $100 gift card to the Home Depot. It's like, wow. I said, yeah, it's because I listened to you and it actually manifests. But it was cool. I mean, especially the Love Shack always needs Home Depot. I tell everybody, whatever. Anyways, we got to take a break. So you're listening to Ghost Chronicles right here on TogiNet and Pararex and all good places podcasts are. My name is Ron Kolick. She is Maureen Wood. And we'll be right back after the following messages. Oh, we're brought to you by, Circles of Wisdom, 386 Merrick Street, Methuen, Massachusetts, the Glant Messier Family Law Group, 55 High Street, North Andover, Massachusetts, and our very good friends on Ghost Chronicles Radio on Patreon. Thank you for being a member and a Patreon member, and you help support this show, which is awesome. Plus, you get access to exclusive crap on the thing too. So can't beat that, exclusive crap. So
that's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful. But anyways, and we're also brought to you by Positively Brain Reiki Infused Candles on Etsy, whatever the hell it is. So anyways, we'll be right back after the following messages, if I can manifest it anyways, right here on TogiNet Radio.
Do you have a paranormal event, book, or something else you want people to know about? Then why not advertise it on Ghost Chronicles Radio? With over 150,000 downloads a month, get your message out to an audience that's interested in the subject. We have a plan at a cost that fits your needs. For more information, contact Ron Kolick at anyghostproject@comcast.net or call 978-455-6678.
Located in Illinois, there lies a sleepy little town where nothing is a common occurrence.
You going to that party in town tonight?
Heck yeah! I only turned 18 once.
That is until the night of celebration.
Where the hell is she? Oh no. No, 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 Jessica!
What's happening?
From the creators of Shadowhunters, Bite Me, comes a tale of primal terror and grindcore mayhem. Shadowhunters, kill, Jessica, kill!
Are you reading me? Come in. Hello? Greetings from the Shadow, and welcome to Shadowzine. My name is Jeff Belanger. I'm an author, podcaster, and explorer of the unexplained. For 30 years, I've been investigating the paranormal, UFOs, monsters, and things that bump in the night. Lately, you may have noticed how major TV networks and even social media networks have been pushing our favorite subject back into the shadows. I say good. That's why I launched Shadowzine, a monthly underground publication that covers your favorite topics in depth by some of the leading writers and researchers out there. If you're looking for 30-second TikTok clips, go somewhere else. If you're ready for a deeper dive, put down your phone and pick up Shadowzine. You can't find it in stores. This is old school print. Head to shadowzine.com and be part of the underground revolution. That's shadowzine.com, and I'll see you in the shadow.
We're back.
Yes, we are. You're listening to Ghost Chronicles right here on TogiNet and PowerX Radio. I am Ron Kolick. She is Maureen Wood. And before the break, we were talking about manifesting things. And this can work both ways, actually. You can actually defeat yourself as well. And I always bring this up like when I do classes on like psychometry or table tipping or anything, the people will say, well, I can't do it, and they don't do it. And the reason why is that their brain is actually defeating their subconscious. So the subconscious is really what runs us, and it's a stupid logic brain that gets in our way sometimes and tells us, oh, you can't do that, or because it's working on memories from the past and what you've been told and throughout history. So, but your subconscious just works on you from the heart. So that's what they do, and so they end up defeating themselves before they even start.
Well, I mean, that's a good point, and I'm glad you mentioned the heart, because our heart rather is, I don't know if you realize this, but there is a section of nerve branches or nerve locations on the top of, I want to say, let me see if I see the picture, the left side of your heart at the top. They say it's like branches of nerves, that it's like a second brain that they have found out. So the point is, that's who we are. So that's what keeps us alive. That's the beating piece of us, right? That keeps everything, the electricity, if you will. And so one of the huge beliefs, and this comes back from even Native American times, with this one scientist that I'll mention shortly. He basically talks about heart and brain coherence. So how many times does your heart tell you one thing and then your brain tells you another, right? So, for instance, your logic is pointing you one direction, but your heart's saying, I don't really think that that's a great idea. Or it might, you get encouraged, or you feel pulled to do something differently, right? Well, the idea is there's literally like a 3-minute technique, let's say, that is used to kind of get your heart and your brain to be in coherence, so that it puts you in what they call into the matrix of the energy. So when you're manifesting, you have more of a time that you can actually visualize what you want. You can put yourself in a space of creating easier, and you have a better option or availability to pull that in by doing that technique.
It's funny you mentioned that about the heart. Is that earlier in the morning show we talked about Mike the Headless Chicken, and it was a chicken that had his head cut off, but went on to live 18 months. They took him on tour.
Oh, wow.
They took him on tour and everything. One of the things was that in the chickens, they have what they call a second brain that is, I believe, I'm not trying to think out where it is. I can't remember offhand.
In the heart.
I believe it is. And it also runs all your body functions and so forth. So
exactly.
Plus, when they did cut it, they didn't quite cut all the brain, the stem to the brain and everything. So, but it's interesting you mentioned that because a lot of people don't know about this extra ability we have, or extra biological thing we have, whatever it is. So intriguing.
Well, if somebody, it is, and I will tell you. I mean, if anybody's interested in like checking this out, I would highly recommend a few people that they should kind of go to YouTube. You can put their name in. There's books out there that they have. One of them, his name is Greg Braden, Braden. He's a scientist, or actually a geologist, that's like written tons of books. He's the pioneer in bridging the science, spirituality. He's someone that will bring like the old world texts from the Bible and all the information that kind of was kept under wraps. And he researches a lot of it, and he brings it to light and he also simplifies the information so that you can actually, make the decision, let's say, for yourself. And either you research it yourself, or you just keep listening to some of his YouTube, videos, let's say. He's great. Joe Dispenza. Have you heard of him, Ron?
No, I have not. Even if I did, names I can't remember. You know that, so.
Okay. Well, this guy is Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I would bet there's many people out there that have heard from him. So if somebody is more, hey, this is great, Maureen, but I'm not quite sure. Dr. Joe Dispenza is someone that works with, I would say he bridges the spiritual, but he also is very scientific about it. So I don't want to take time and get into his whole history. Check him out online. He has tons of meditation videos. And he's funny because all the people that I listen to, a lot of times I will listen to some of the videos that are put out by Joe Dispenza, and it's not that he's stealing, but he will simplify. So he'll go get information from Esther Hicks or Abraham Hicks, someone else who's big on law of attraction, and he'll go actually take the information from Greg Braden, and he makes a spin off it, but you can tell that it's a lot of that information that he also is researching and bringing to light. But he hires like scientists and doctors. They do he'll have like big conferences, and they do a lot of meditation, and they do a lot of different types of work. And he has all of these MRIs taken. He has blood tests taken, and people have actually been healed at the seminars from various different diseases. And it just comes down to working with energy and actually, meditation and so forth. And there's been so many people that have benefited by doing this.
So how is that any different than how is that any different than the evangelist ministers go out there and have their ceremonies?
Because it's not, he doesn't do it as spiritual. He does it as, it's really just, you go to his events and it's like very big businessmen, scientists, doctors will take the conference, and they're learning how to meditate. They're not doing any kind of spiritual, nothing is spiritual. He's very good about keeping it like no religions. It's basically you learn how to meditate.
Well,
And what I'm
spiritualism
saying
is a
is,
religion. It's if you believe in any type of
no,
spiritual, it's a religion.
but he won't even say he's spiritual, but yet I can feel it from what he talks about.
Mhm.
But as an example, a woman was blind from a stroke, and this is like one of the ones I've read about. So she was blind from a stroke, and her friends actually signed her up to take one of his week-long retreats to kind of learn how to deal and cope with her blindness, And I guess the last day of her doing the meditation, they were sitting out like on a beach at the ocean, and they were meditating and doing this thing, and she heard a crackle or a pop behind her eyes, and she was able to see after that. So, and who knows, a lot of this, meditation, people don't realize when you're working in, like, for instance, for me, I mean, granted, when you get busy, sometimes it's difficult, right? But I will meditate every single morning before I even get out of bed for like 20 minutes, sometimes an hour or a half hour. And I will do meditation because it's what keeps me in that space where I'm able to access, higher vibrations. And if I don't meditate, it's not as easy to do that. So, meditation is huge. It's creates so much different scenarios and benefits from doing it, not just your health. You do, your blood pressure drops, your anxiety is less, like all these different things are affected by it. So when I hear that someone had, they're able to see because they were able to break through whatever clot, let's say, was in their body, makes perfect sense. Who knows? This person could have been so stressed out prior to that and blood pressure wise, and maybe the meditation actually caused some sort of, relaxation in that area and opened it up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's just so many different people, but definitely go look at heart and brain coherence for anybody who's listening and wants to learn more about it. You'll hear a whole bunch about it, and you can go do it, like I said, a 3-minute technique. And I will tell you, for me, I do that 3-minute technique, and I can literally feel my tingling in my hands. I can feel the energy shift. It literally puts you in that space.
Mm-hmm. There's so many questions about this. I mean, like, in manifestation, for instance, we were talking about this on the morning show with Lou, that he said, like, he was looking for I think an extra gas tank for his grill, and he was driving down the street, and the other side of the road was the gas tank for his grill. Now,
Mm-hmm.
did he manifest that there, or did he just become aware it was there, become cognizant it was there? It was always there, but because he was looking for one, he found it. He might have been there every day and he's going by it. Yeah,
it's the timing of it too, right?
Only if you use it for correlation. In other words, you're saying, "Oh, you manifested."
Yes.
Yeah, but if it was always there, because he wasn't looking for it, so he didn't see it. It's like how many times if you like you're looking for, you say, a car, like, I'd like, a white Jeep, and all of a sudden you see a million white Jeeps in the road. Were they always there, or are you
because you focus on it?
Exactly.
They were.
So
in that scenario, they were always there, but you just weren't. Your awareness opened up, but your thought was always thinking about it. So it's a combination. It's like that catch-22, right? Like you start really thinking about it. Your thoughts, I often think of our thoughts, Ron, as a pebble in a pond. And when you take a pebble and you throw it in the pond, you have a ripple effect, right? So your thoughts go out there and you magnetize it, and you, honest to God, will bring back what frequency you're sending out. So that's why when I hear people and they are more towards the negative, I can feel like, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, wow, like, you just be very careful, even when people joke about it, because the universe doesn't always know you're joking. So you make a comment that is something you don't want to happen, but you make a comment about something that's towards the negative, and then it happens. You go, see, well, guess what? Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah,
right? Like you put that thought out there.
But then if you look at something like, you say, oh, I have a feeling I shouldn't do this, and then you do it because your buddy says you'll do it, and then something bad happens. Is it like, did you have a premonition it wouldn't happen, or did you self defeat yourself and saying, okay, I shouldn't be doing this, and I'm doing it, and I'm going to fail, and you fail. So did you manifest
Right.
failing? That's or is it
Probably. I mean,
or is it just your premonition that if you did it you would fail? That's the problem
well,
in this whole field in the different modalities. It's difficult to separate them sometimes.
well, sometimes it is, but you know what's funny is you watch The Secret movie, and yeah, they talk about. Remember the piece where you have a guy sitting there, and thank God that our negative things don't come to fruition really easy, because there's an elephant who sits down and in his room and breaks everything or something. It's just because he's more on the negative side, right? But I mean, honest to God, listen. I love my husband, but he can tend to be on the negative side, right? And I'm always trying to say to him, just be really careful, and he doesn't, and he'll do stuff and he'll go, why is it that everything happens like this, like over and over when he's doing something? He whacks his finger, he gets a splinter in his hand. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you're so stressed out. Second of all, you keep putting that this is going to happen. And guess what? It's not 100% guaranteed it will, but guess what? You're magnetizing things you don't want to happen.
Yeah, well, I've solved that problem
sometimes,
for me.
Why?
Because I'm always cutting my hands and slice my fingers off and everything else, and it's
not fun,
it's not me manifesting. It's just that I must have been a thief in my past life, and I'm paying for it now.
No, shit happens. I get that. We get challenged, right? We get challenged, and trust me, things do happen. However, when you have a chance to put yourself in a better vibration, I would say that you're more apt to be able to, it's like more like water off a duck's back, right? So when things do come to you, they're not as devastating because you're in a different energetic space, number one. I mean, you just talked about Lou, right? With that gas tank.
Gas tank.
Perfect example. Last night, we went to the Freiburg Fair. Remember, we chatted right before I was going in. And we had gone there a few years in a row. And last night we're going, and I'm thinking, on the way there, I said to my husband, I'm like, one thing I wished I would have picked up was a nice dungaree or jean jacket, because, my girlfriends I'm going with have one. I would like to have it. Just, I don't really have a lighter one out. I said, I'd like a nice jacket. I've looked for 3 or 4 of them in different stores. I either don't get the right size or they were too heavy. I didn't like them and I didn't buy them. Right. So last night we're at the fair, and he goes, what makes you think that you're going to find a jean jacket at a fair? Right? What makes you think you even have a chance of doing that? I said, I don't know that I will, but I'm just saying, if I see one, I would like one. I'd like to get one. Don't you know, we go towards the end of the night, we walk by this area, this tent, and there you go. There was jean jackets hanging up on a rack, and I actually bought 2 of them for less than I would have paid for one in a store.
Yeah, pretty good deal.
So
that must have made him happy.
So it's oh yeah, because it was like in the store they were like $60 a piece. I got 2 of them for $30. So I'm like, yeah, I like it too. It's nice and light. It's good looking. It's like, I like this thing. So, but that's the point. And there's tools that people can use. I'm going to tell you that now before we run out of time.
Yeah,
there's something, Ron, that's called, one of the techniques you can use. It's, for instance, you say, wouldn't it be wonderful if, or wouldn't it be great if, and you fill in the blank, okay? You write it down, because writing it down gives you 43% more, research gives you 43% more that goal or whatever will happen when you put it to paper, right?
So like
you
a
say, wouldn't it be
manifesting
wonderful if? No, well, there are manifesting boards. You can do it. But this is literally just taking a notebook or a blank piece of paper and you write it down. So I use that technique to sell my house, to have the inspector come and pass in the whole thing, because you know how many times we tried to sell my house, right? And we had issues because it was a 200-year-old house, and every time the inspector come, they would eat us alive, right, on the house. And guess what I noticed? Every time the inspector, we get a report, it'd be like 30 pages, right? Which there shouldn't have been, but there was 30 pages. So it took me like 4 times of that happening for me to look at the pages and notice that everything, or 90% of things that were caught or put on there, was things that Steve, my husband, was actually putting out in the universe. He'd go, oh, when he comes, this is going to be there. That's going to be there. He's going to catch this. He's going to catch that. He's going to catch. And so
would you put him in a coma last time?
I pretty much, I told him, I said, here's the deal. He's like, I didn't hire him. I said, I didn't say you hired them, but you don't realize how energy works. So let's do a deal. The last 4 times it didn't go through, correct? I said, what do you got to lose? I said, do me a favor. So I did put the zipper on the lips, right? I said, don't talk to your boss. Don't talk to your friends. Don't talk to me about the inspector. I don't want to hear about it. I said, he's coming in 2 weeks and I'm going to do my thing, but you please don't talk to anyone. And so it was around New Year's, and we sit down at a party, and I'm laughing because I'm like, wow. So this friend says to him, so Steve, what are you going to do about the inspector this time? And he stops and he turns his head, looks at me and goes, I can't talk about it. Right. So while this is going on for 2 weeks, what I did was said, and I visualized it too. I said, wouldn't it be wonderful if the inspector loved this house like we love it, or nobody else has ever loved it, and had minimal to fix, if anything, to get, to complete the sale. So 2 weeks goes by, I'm leaving the house, the inspector's coming, whatever. I get a phone call like hours later, and the realtor said, I cannot believe this, Maureen. I said, what? She said, the other realtor was there, and the inspector kept walking around the house saying, I don't know what it is, but I just love this house, right? And then all he had us do was, on a 40-year-old furnace, okay, was to fix a $200 piece on it, and that was it.
Oh, wow.
That was the whole thing. So I didn't even, when we were done, all I got was the look from my husband, like, all right, maybe there's something to this, but he didn't say anything else. But obviously it's sold because we're up here. So
that's amazing. So
I'm telling you, it works.
We are getting down to the end. Anything else you want to mention towards as far as tools or anything that people can do to help in their self-manifestation?
Well, I would definitely, with that tip I said, the other thing would be to, if you don't meditate, even 5 minutes, try to meditate. And again, go online and, Joe Dispenza has lots of free meditations that you can get. And there's so much more now online that you can get for free, different meditations. That is huge. And look up that heart and brain coherence. And Joe Dispenza does that, and that scientist talks about it, Greg Braden. So
right.
If anybody wants to contact me, though, they can also go to my website, which is maureen-wood.com.
Okay. That's the other thing too, is you have to, put that negativity and self-defeat out of your heads. You look at, like in any sport, why you look at some of these guys, say, boy, they cocky, or they no, because that's part of the thing. They believe they are good and they become good. So you have to have that same little bit of cockiness in life. Yeah, things are going to go my way. Things are going to happen. Not, I don't know if I can do this, or geez, I better not do that. That's going to, if I do that, that's bad. It's like, whatever. Just get that negativity out of your head and think positive. Think that you can. Isn't that the little engine, right? I can.
Yeah.
Right?
In fact, I'm glad you brought it up, because there's actually the other technique you made me think about when you talked about that. It's called, gratitude is and love are one of the highest vibrations you can even bring up, right? So when you look at a picture of a loved one, you feel your heart fill with love, right? And you had a certain event, because pictures hold memories. But for instance, I'm driving through these beautiful mountains and I'm going to an appointment. I'm looking at the trees and I'm just thankful. Like, I look at them and I feel how beautiful they are, or I feel how the scenery is it's uplifting. So there's something called the rampage of appreciation. So for instance, instead of being like negative and in a rush all the time, or you're upset because you're not in a certain place, for instance, you're standing in line at a post office and you're in like 10 people back. The idea is instead of getting upset, instead of getting negative about it, you like take a look around, you appreciate the environment. Hey, it may not be like you're moving quickly, but hey, it's clean. They're doing their best to help you to get through. And it's just something that you find something to really appreciate, and not just thought-wise, but you literally feel the appreciation for actually being there and being able to take care of what you need to, let's say, before it closes, So that's a technique to use because, again, it puts you in a higher vibration. And when you're vibrating in a higher vibration, a frequency, you're going to attract that level of energy instead of attracting something you don't want.
Exactly. And always be thankful for what you have. My back is crap. Everybody knows that. I wake up in pain every morning and everything else. And I have miserable things happen to me. But I don't ever say, oh, woe is me. I always say, there's always somebody who's off worse than me. I thank for what I have. Every morning I get up, and I say, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Mary, for another day. Even though I'm in pain and getting out of bed, I still say that because I'm thankful for another day, and that's the way you have to be. Be thankful you have, and still you can manifest more because if you appreciate what you have, and that's the first step to it.
Absolutely.
So have I grown or what?
Yes, you have, Ron.
I've
said that many times.
You had to think about it.
I do. I say it all the time. Every event. Oh my goodness, you can't even imagine how much Ron has grown.
Anyway, it's been fun. It's always fun. I mean, it's part of Pararex. We're putting up some of the old, what do you call it? The old Ghost Village radio shows that we did.
Cool.
Yeah, and I listen to them, and it cracks me up every time to hear you and I back together again doing our thing. We were so silly back then, but we were fun.
We were, but it was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun.
That was the main thing. Anyways, we do have to wrap it up. You've been listening to Ghost Chronicles. Oh, by the way, if you want to hear some of these old things, the Ghost Village things, they are on Parax Radio. Go to Para-X Radio, Parax Radio Network.
Para-X.com.
There you go. That too. And yeah, you can listen to them. It's on all the major things, as iTunes and things and everything else. Anyway, we got to go. We want to thank everybody for listening. Our show is brought to you by Circles of Wisdom, 386 Merrimack Street, Methuen, Massachusetts. The Gallant Messier Family Law Group, 55 High Street, North Andover, Massachusetts. Our very good friends on Ghost Chronicles Radio on Patreon. Become a member for $3 a month, like John in the chat room, and Ann Carrigan, Stephen Scott, and Quinn Doobie, Craig DeGroot, Sue Brown. There's tons of them. So thank you, everyone. Good night. Be safe and think positive.
Yep. Good night and God bless.
From ghoulies to ghosties, long-leggedy beasties, and things that go bump in the night. Deliver us, good Lord.
There we go.